There is a moment in every mother's life that she never forgets. The moment she realizes that her son, the boy she raised, the boy she held in her arms and sang to sleep, has chosen someone else. Not just chosen her, but chosen her over his own mother. I remember that moment clearly. It wasn't loud. There was no shouting, no dramatic scene. It was quiet. So quiet that I could hear my own heart breaking. We were sitting in their living room. My son, David, his wife, Claire, and me. I had asked a simple question, something about the grandchildren, about when I could see them next. Claire looked at David. David looked at the floor. And then he said, "Mom, we need some space. Claire thinks you're around too much." I waited for him to defend me. I waited for him to say, "But she's family. She's my mother." He didn't. He just sat there, silent, while Claire nodded. In that moment, I understood. He had made his choice.
And it wasn't me.
My name is Ruth. I am 71 years old. I have 2 children, a daughter who lives across the country and a son who lives 20 minutes away, but might as well be 1,000 miles. I have learned that love is not always enough. That sometimes the people we raise, the people we pour our hearts into, will grow up and grow away from us. Not because we did something wrong, but because they are building their own lives, and sometimes those lives don't have room for us.
This is my story.
To understand how I ended up in that living room, watching my son choose her over me, you have to go back. Back to when David was a boy. David was my firstborn. He came into the world on a warm September morning, with a tuft of dark hair and a cry that filled the delivery room. His father, my husband Henry, held him first, and I remember watching the two of them, father and son, and thinking that my heart had grown too big for my chest. I was 23 when David was born.
Young.
Full of hope. I thought I knew everything about being a mother. If I loved him enough, fed him enough, held him enough, he would always be mine. David was a good boy. Kind, thoughtful, sensitive. He would bring me flowers from the garden, picked just for me. He would sit with me on the porch in the evenings, and we would watch the stars come out. He told me everything about his friends, his dreams, his fears. We were close. So close that I thought nothing could ever come between us. His father, Henry, was a good man but a quiet one. He worked long hours at the factory, and when he came home, he was tired. David and Henry loved each other, but they weren't close the way David and I were. I was David's safe place. His confidant, his home. When David went to college, he called me every day.
Other mothers teased me about it.
"Doesn't he have a life?" they would ask. But I didn't care. I loved hearing his voice. I loved knowing that no matter how far he went, he still needed me. When he met Claire, I was happy for him. He sounded different when he talked about her. Happier. More alive. He brought her home for Thanksgiving, and I did everything I could to make her feel welcome. I cooked her favorite meal. I gave her the guest room with the best view. I told her she was family now. She seemed lovely. She laughed at my stories. She helped me with the dishes. She told me how much she admired the way I had raised David. "You did such a good job," she said. "He's the most wonderful man." I beamed. I thought I had gained a daughter. The changes started slowly. So slowly that I almost didn't notice them at first. David's phone calls became shorter. He used to call every day. Then it was every other day. Then once a week. When I asked him about it, he said he was busy. Work was demanding. Claire needed his help. The baby was keeping them up at night. I understood. I had been a young mother once. I knew how exhausting it could be. I try not to take it personally, but then the visit stopped. They used to come for Sunday dinner every week. David would sit at my kitchen table, and I would make his favorite meal, pot roast with mashed potatoes, the way his grandmother used to make it. He would tell me about his week, and I would listen, and we would laugh about old times. Then the Sundays became once a month. Then once every few months. When I asked David why, he said Claire preferred to spend weekends with her own family. "She misses them," he said. "You understand."
I did understand.
But it hurt. It hurt to be replaced. The grandchildren, first Emily, then Jacob, were the hardest. I loved them more than I can say. I wanted to be part of their lives. I wanted to read them stories and take them to the park and watch them grow. But every time I asked to see them, there was an excuse. Emily had a cold. Jacob was fussy. They were traveling. They were busy. I started to feel like I was being pushed out. Not directly, not with words, but with 1,000 small absences. 1,000 small rejections. I tried to talk to David about it. One night, I called him and I said, "David, I feel like I never see you anymore. I miss you. I miss the children." There was a pause. A long, heavy pause. "Mom," he said, his voice different, cooler than I had ever heard it. "Claire feels like you don't respect our boundaries. She feels like you're trying to control our lives." I was stunned.
What?
"David, I've never. You're always calling. You're always asking to visit. You make her feel like she's not good enough, like she's not a good wife or mother." His words hit me like stones. I didn't know where they were coming from. I had never said anything negative about Claire. I had never criticized her parenting. I had only ever tried to help. "David," I said, my voice shaking, "I love Claire. I've never said a bad word about her. I don't understand." "I have to go, Mom," he said. "I'll talk to you later." He hung up, and I sat in my kitchen, staring at the phone, wondering what had just happened. It happened on a Sunday. I had been invited for dinner, a rare invitation. I dressed carefully, wore the earrings David had given me for my birthday, and drove to their house with a small cake in my hands. The dinner was tense. Claire was polite, but distant. David barely looked at me. The children ate quickly and asked to be excused. I sat at the table, pushing food around my plate, feeling like a stranger in my own son's home. After dinner, I offered to help with the dishes. Claire said no. "We have a dishwasher," she said. "You can just sit." I sat in the living room, waiting. David was in the kitchen with Claire. I could hear them whispering, but I couldn't make out the words. When they came out, Claire sat in the armchair across from me. David stood by the window, his back to me. "Ruth," Claire said. She didn't call me Mom anymore. "We need to talk about something." My heart began to pound. "What is it?" She looked at David. He didn't turn around. "We feel like you need to give us more space. Your visits are overwhelming. The children need consistency. We need our privacy." I looked at David. "David, is this how you feel?" He didn't turn around. He just nodded. Claire continued. "We think it would be best if you called before coming over. And maybe limit your visits to once a month. We need to prioritize our family." Our family, not me. I wasn't part of our family. I looked at David again. "David, please. Look at me."
Slowly, he turned around.
His face was pale. His eyes were tired. He looked at me, and for a moment, I saw the boy he had been. The boy who brought me flowers. The boy who sat with me on the porch. The boy who told me everything. Then he looked away. "Mom," he said, "Claire's right. We need space." That was the moment. The moment I realized my son had chosen her over me.
I didn't cry.
I didn't argue. I just nodded, stood up, and walked to the door. "I understand," I said. "I'll call before I come." I drove home in silence. I sat in my driveway for a long time, the engine off, the darkness around me. And then I went inside, sat in my chair, and let the tears come. I honored their request. I called before every visit. I came once a month, sometimes less. I stayed for an hour, maybe 2, and then I left. I stopped asking to see the grandchildren. I waited to be invited. The invitations became fewer. Then they stopped altogether. I called David on his birthday. He didn't answer. I left a message.
He didn't call back.
I sent cards for Christmas, for Easter, for no reason at all. I never got a reply. I started to wonder if I had done something wrong. Maybe I had been too involved. Maybe I had overstepped without realizing it. Maybe Claire wasn't lying. Maybe she genuinely believed I was a threat. I replayed every conversation, every visit, every phone call, searching for the moment I had gone wrong. I never found it. My daughter, Sarah, tried to help. She called David and asked him what was going on. He told her to stay out of it. He told her that Claire was his wife, and he had to support her. He told her that I was too much and that he needed space.
Space. That word haunted me.
How much space did he need? How far away did I have to be before I was close enough? Years passed. 2 years. Then 3. I stopped calling. I stopped hoping. I learned to live with the silence. It was a Tuesday. I was in my garden, pulling weeds, when the phone rang. I almost didn't answer it. I let it ring 3 times for times. And then, on the 5th ring, I picked it up. Hello. There was a pause. And then a voice I hadn't heard in 3 years. Mom, it was David. His voice was rough, broken. He sounded like he had been crying. David, I said. My voice was calm, but my heart was pounding. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have called sooner. I should have stood up for you. I should have done a lot of things. I didn't say anything. I let him talk. Claire and I separated, he said. 6 months ago. I've been living alone, thinking about everything. About how I let her push you away. About how I stood there and said nothing. I've been so ashamed, Mom. I didn't know how to face you. I closed my eyes. 3 years of silence. 3 years of wondering. 3 years of learning to live without him. And now he was on the phone, telling me he was sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me, he said. I don't deserve that. But I wanted you to know, I love you, Mom. I never stopped loving you. I was just weak. I took a deep breath. The anger I had carried, the questions I had wanted to ask, they were still there, somewhere. But in that moment, they didn't matter. What mattered was that my son was on the phone. My son was saying he was sorry. I love you too, David, I said. I never stopped. David came to see me the next day. He sat on my couch in my small living room and he cried. He told me about the years of tension, the arguments, the slow unraveling of his marriage. He told me that he should have listened to me. He should have protected me. I was afraid, he said. I was afraid that if I chose you, I would lose her. And I didn't know how to be alone. I reached over and took his hand. You don't have to choose, David. I'm your mother. I will always love you, no matter what. He looked at me, his eyes wet. How can you forgive me so easily? Because I've had 3 years to practice, I said. And because you're my son. And nothing you do will ever make me stop loving you. It took time. It took more time than I wanted it to. But David and I rebuilt our relationship. He comes for dinner now every Sunday. He brings the children when he has them. We sit at my small kitchen table and I cook his favorite meals and we talk about everything and nothing. Claire and David divorced. I don't know the details. I don't ask. I don't wish her ill. I don't carry anger in my heart. What happened happened. It was painful. It was unfair. But it let us hear that I have thought a lot about that moment. The moment I realized my son chose her over me. For a long time, that moment haunted me. I would replay it in my mind, wondering what I could have done differently. Wondering if I had been too much, too present, too loving. But over time, I realized something. David didn't choose her over me because he loved her more. He chose her because he was afraid. Afraid of losing his marriage. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of the conflict that would come if he stood up for me. Fear is a powerful thing. It can make us do things we never thought we would do. It can make us hurt the people we love most. But here is what I have learned. Love is more powerful than fear. It took years, but love brought my son back to me. Love broke through the silence. Love held us together when everything else was falling apart. If you are a mother who has been pushed away, who has watched your child choose someone else over you, I want you to know this. Do not give up. Keep the door open. Keep the porch light on. Keep loving even when it hurts. Because love is patient. Love is persistent. And love, in the end, will find its way home. The moment I realized my son chose her over me, I thought my heart would never heal. But it did. Not because I forgot, but because I chose to forgive. And because my son, after all those years, chose to come back. The rain has stopped. The sun is setting. And my son is sitting across from me, at my kitchen table, laughing at an old memory. He is home. And so am I.